the Cryptonian, taking a look at Ethereum, as I have said in a previous video that I would do. And so taking a look at Ethereum here on the 4 hour, taking a look at the statistics, we're looking at RSI at 51, so we're barely the uh, over the midpoint, so it's slightly just a hair bullish. And EMA trend, the main EMA trend is bullish, and the DMA trend is bearish, meaning we've had an early sign of slowing down. And we have our expansion contraction volatility meter, which or tool, which says we're in contraction and in reversal. We have lost the daily pivot. Daily pivot is 1934, although our support points were well above those. Volatility is 7, so not a lot of volatility, right? And that's kind of like what we're seeing with Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum is a different animal when it comes to analysis. Very volatile, doesn't move like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, Bitcoin's very defined in its moves, right? However, Ethereum is not as defined, right? So you can see here that we had this impulse to the upside. This was during the XRP hysteria. And then we have since then come right back down. And we're consolidating sideways, trying to anyway, like Bitcoin is doing. It has moves like Bitcoin, follows Bitcoin, but it's more exaggerated, right? This is a 4 hour again, and you can see that it's respecting the 200-day moving average, 200 moving average on the 4 hour. And we had a bounce here. We went up, came back down here, consolidated. We had a three-point test, and then we moved up a little bit and another push higher. So when we take a look at the larger picture, let's go to the daily, because when 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 you do analysis on Ethereum, completing analysis on Ethereum, it's a little bit of a different creature because its price moves are just they're kind of weird, right? So, but anyway, you can see here we had a bottom here, went up, came right back down. This was at the end of 2022, and then we went straight up into these impulse moves, and you can see that these moves are very well defined on the daily, right? And so I think it's important to kind of stick to that. So you can see here we went from here all the way up, had an impulse move, and then a correction, came down. That correction came right down between zero point 0.5 fib and zero point 0.6 fib, right? And then it repeated the same behavior. It went up and then it came right back down, and look at where it is. 0 0.5, 0 0.6 fib right here, right in between that. So it likes the golden pocket on the downside on the daily chart, and from that point we can see that it likes the 200 moving average as well, but it likes to break it, a little bit, and that's probably a liquidity grab by the larger players, right? They force it down below the 200. Novice retail traders get nervous, they start selling, and then of course they just buy it from the retail, buy it off of them, and then move higher. And that's basically a liquidity grab on the downside, right? So you can see here this area is well defined by our Cryptonian suite support lines, right? We can see a lot of support lines here. So this support area is from 1623 all the way down to 1500. And when we took a dump here, we came all the way down to the 200, and now we're just starting a new move to the upside, right? So if Bitcoin continues higher, then of course, Ethereum's gonna continue higher. But you can only repeat this pattern so many times, right? Until you start to fizzle out. So, and I think this is kind of where we're at. Like when we had a strong move up, we came back, we corrected, And then we had a nice strong move up again. And you can see at the beginning of the move, it's pretty smooth. It's really smooth here because it's just nothing but straight up. And then here it was pretty smooth as well, but we had a little bit of rough areas here, coming down and fighting through this area. And then you can see here we're having a real rough time. This is not the smooth ascension, not the smooth move up like we've had in the past two times. So if is it time for a correction? And that's the whole point. Are we going to and this was more of like a sideways action, right? Rather than this one being a straight dip, right? Getting purchased. So that's the question, right? Are we going to go sideways for a little bit longer? If Bitcoin does pull back, Ethereum will pull back as well, right? And you can see that this entire area, excuse me, is just really choppy. So there's a lot of indecision in this area. There's a lot of fighting in this area between the bulls and the bears. Now, we are above point of control. Point of control is at basically 1,880. This orange line right here is the point of control. So we're a little bit above that. We are in a green cloud, so we are bullish. RSI 55 on the daily. RSI 55. EMA trend is bullish. DMA trend is bullish. The expansion contraction tool tells us that we are in expansion. Let's see. Yep, we are in expansion. Here's the expansion right here, and we are blue. And oh, okay, no, I'm sorry. The background is light blue, and so we are in expansion, but we're in reversal here. Okay, so we have a little tiny little bit of yellow starting. So from here to here, okay, so this expansion move here is already turning yellow. Okay, so that's showing the volatility here and the indecision. We are currently under the daily pivot. 1934 is the daily pivot, and we're at 1932 just by a few dollars. Nothing significant. And of course, support 1 is 1922, support 2, 1914, support 3, 1902. And we're right below the 10 volatility mark, which means, below 10 is basically consolidation, right? So we just entered into consolidation level volatility. So what could we see? If we stay under 10 in volatility, we could probably see just this sideways action, right? Currently support is at the 30, which is right above point of control, 1884. The 50 moving average is coming in at 1868, and then of course our 200 moving average coming in at 1768, right? So these are going to be points that are important. Now let's take some fibs. Since Ethereum does like fibs, let's take some fibs. So if we do have a pullback with Bitcoin, it depends on how big the pullback is. The 0.5 Fibonacci is at 1831, and the golden pocket 0.6 is here at 1786, right? So in this area between 1831 and 1786 would be the first area that I think would catch a bid and some support here. And it just really depends on how severe Bitcoin would pull back, right? So I think bulls will probably come in between 1831 and 1786, which is right above our 200 moving average. However, if Bitcoin is more severe, then that can be broken, right? And most likely we'll attempt to make some type of a support here and then break it, right? And then remember, on the daily, 200 is at 1763, 1765 area. If we go below that, then we're gonna have a bullish sentiment in the market, or excuse me, bearish sentiment in the market. And so that's when everybody's going to get nervous and they're going to start selling. Excuse me, that kind of thing. So let's take a look here on our, yeah, okay. So we do have some significant levels for the volume profile. This here is a tool that's built into the Cryptonian suite. It's called the volume profile. And you can see these little peaks here, right? These little peaks show you where the majority of the volume is traded. So if that 200 breaks, then we can see here that right around 1643 or 1650 would be an area, I think, where we would probably catch a bounce and some support, because we do have a node here. Whether that would hold or not, we would just have to wait and see. But that's actually right at a support line, this green support line here, right? So on the upside, we do have some resistance up here at 2144. So 2144 would be the short-term target on the upside, and resistance on whether that's the let's go ahead and put a line there. That would be right here, and that's going to be the range at the moment on the upside, and then the range to the downside would be here. Okay, and then of course we do have another level here. So that's kind of where we're at. To the upside, we have for the resistance 2135, and point of control in the middle we have 1880. Price needs to stay above 1880 if we're going to remain bullish. Okay, and continue on up to 2135. If we break below that 1880 area, okay, then like I said, 200 moving average is at 1770, and most likely that's where we would find short-term buying, and then we'll have to assess if that holds or not. That's right at the 200 moving average. Although, Ethereum does like to break that from time to time, and it does seem like it's losing steam. It does seem like it's trying to go sideways here, and it's going sideways with Bitcoin basically. So Bitcoin's going to determine the direction for Ethereum. All right, and right now, like I said, volatility is 9. And if we have a small dip right here, or just kind of do this, go sideways, you know, that's going to be the consolidation time, right? So that's pretty much about it for Ethereum. Ethereum, like I said, is a little bit different than Bitcoin and some of these other moves, and much different than the stock market as well. So um, that being said, we just have to wait and see what happens with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, like I said before, looking at some kind of a, let's take a look and see what's going on with Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin may have a bearish weekly close, but we still have time, and so that's not a guaranteed event, right? Okay, let's see here. Okay, so it is moving up a bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Let's see here. Okay. All right, yeah, so here we had a little bit of a move higher, not much. And so let's take a look at the weekly, see what that did for us on the weekly. Nah, it didn't really help us out too much. Yeah, so here's that weekly bearish candle that I was talking about on Bitcoin. And so, yeah, so if Bitcoin has a pullback here, Bitcoin looks like it's looking weak, and looks like it may have a increased risk of downside. So if that happens, then that's going to affect Ethereum. Now, Ethereum on the weekly does look strong. Excuse me, sorry about that. Ethereum on the weekly does look strong, and you can see here, this is their weekly candle right here. And but it does look, let's see here. Okay, so we've had our impulse to the upside here, and then now it looks like we had the, let's see, maybe the A, B, and possibly C. So yeah, I mean, downside, I don't see downside on the weekly taking place uh, much lower than probably. Mm, let's see here. let's see here. Let's see here. I need to be careful where I put these lines. So probably what's going to happen is if there's a dump on Bitcoin or a pullback, Ethereum 1577 to this bottom line here. So, basically 1700, 1683, something like that, which would be a little bit different on the weekly than what I've shown on the daily as far as the golden pocket. Um, but if it's an extended move to the downside with Bitcoin, if Bitcoin breaks that ascending channel, then we probably will come down to the 200 at 1575. Okay, for Ethereum. All right. So there you have it, friends. I don't want to make the video too long. Please do me a favor and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If you find that this is helpful to you, and if you enjoy the content, please do me a favor. Click like. It helps the YouTube algorithm get my videos out there. This is a new channel, and I can use all the help that I can get, and it's much greatly appreciated. And if you're new and you're kind of wondering what kind of system I'm using as far as technical analysis on the chart, uh, the system that I'm using is called the Cryptonian Suite up here. Cryptonian Suite version 1. I coded it, put it together, and basically it gives you a nice little window, gives you all of the information you need visually on the chart without changing indicators. And TradingView will actually limit you, if you have a free account, to 3. And this makes using a free account enjoyable again, right? So there's many different indicators here. We're considering adding some additional indicators, but right now this is kind of what it's looking like, because the next step is going to be automation. I'm going to be looking towards automation and how to coding in automation into this tool, to where it's going to buy and sell automatically, so you don't have to sit in front of a screen, right? So that being said, thank you so much. Looking forward to the next video with you. Thank you for your time, and I really appreciate you guys. Take care. We'll see you in the next video.